Welcome back to the channel. I dug up my buddy Pascal. He's got a zombie deck profile for you guys that's pretty interesting, featuring Ultimate Offering and the Keeper of Limbs. Tell me a little bit about this deck.
So this deck, I built it around December, and Brad and I went to Seattle Regionals where it went undefeated, and it won my Winnipeg pots there. And then we also took it to that Vancouver Regionals where it went undefeated again.
Back-to-back weekend.
Back-to-back undefeated at the Regionals. And we tried to record the deck profile, audio got corrupted. But there was another Vancouver Regionals here, and although it didn't go undefeated, Brad beat me in one of the pods. It did win another pod later on in the day, so it is, I think, 3 for 5 victories on pods with fairly competitive players in it.
It's excellent stuff.
So it's pretty fire.
Let's check this out then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the deck profile. This is the thing that makes the deck very unique. So we're playing 2 copies of Eelblood. Brad said Guardian of the Limbs, because the French translation doesn't go with all the other languages that just call him Eelblood. It says he's Eelblood, Guardian of the Limbs, so he keeps your hands and legs safely inside the vehicle. The 2 of him, he's a level 6 Dark Gemini. And what Eelblood does is you can normal summon him, and then he can special a zombie-type monster from either player's graveyard. And that monster dies when he leaves the field. So 2 is important for the Ultimate Offering loop, and it facilitates amazing combos. Also, if you've played Geminis before, you'll know that him being a Gemini allows you to go into Black Loot Draco, which is like a fantastic card. Then for the rest of the zombie engine, we're playing 2 Goblin Zombie, which is obviously probably the best searcher in the game, aside from Sangan. It's just fantastic, and if you have this thing with a tuner and offering, you just like win the game. Then we play 1 Zombie Master. I actually hate this card. So many times I drew this thing like without any other zombies and it's just dead. But you gotta play it just because it's a good one of, and it's a nice search off Goblin Zombie. Then 1 Spirit Reaper. I search this a lot to just poke, and it's like a nice thing to get off Pyramid Turtle and stuff as well. Then we play the 1 Plague, best tuner in the deck. It allows you to use Eelblood for an instant level 8 synchro. Then we got the 1 Mizuki, obviously fantastic. Play the one you're allowed to play. And then we play 3 Pyramid Turtle. Pyramid Turtle is pretty slow, but it's really important because this deck, you just need to get to a Goblin Zombie. You get to a Goblin Zombie in the game. This allows you to do that. This also allows you to get into an Eelblood. So there's been times where somebody will just have a Thunder King and you just crash this, and then you bring out an Eelblood and you just run their Thunder King over in the battle phase. Or like a Quackimero Draco. Not a Draco because you can't special summon, but like if they have like, what's it called? A Royal Oppression up, this allows you to get over bigger monsters as well. Then for random darks, we're playing 1 Dark Armed. Everybody knows Goblin Zombies have some of the best Grave Facilitation and are probably the best Dark Armed deck. And you play 1 of him, you just let you OTK out of nowhere. Then we play 2 Caius. Caius is really strong. Banishes things, triggers your Goblin Zombie. You can also Caius your opponent during during their battle phase by tributing using Offering, which is very nice. 3 Tomato. Again, what I found with this deck is I just need to be able to get to Goblin Zombie, and this allows me to do that. Also allows me to get to other tuners such as Cravons. And speaking of which, this is my tuner engine, so we're going to be playing double Cravons. This is accompanied by 1 E-Telly that we'll see later. It's just a good level 2 Dark tuner, which is why we play it. I'm going to play double Diva. I'm just playing 2 because I don't play any mill cards, and this way your Diva is pretty much always going to be live at 2, right? You're not going to brick on a 3rd that you just have randomly in the deck. 1 Sangan, again, amazing searcher, works with all your tuners, works with your Caius, works with your Eelblood, and just gets the deck rolling. And finally, the last monster we're playing is the 1 Tragodia. You cannot play Gores in this deck, simply because you have Offering and Continuous Traps. And this is very good against a lot of decks that make 6s. You can just like search in the blood, discard it, and take their 6. So definitely recommend the Trag and enjoy it. Now we're going to move on to my trap cards. So Ultimate Offering is obviously what makes the deck really good. Pay 500, you get to normal summon an additional time during your turn or during your opponent's battle phase. And one cool thing about Offering is you can pay twice. And then even if you don't have a monster to summon from your hand on the second pay, that will help you make things like Bottomless or Torrential Tribute miss timing, so you can play around those with this card. And it's just unbelievable. 1 Return, obviously very strong. If your Eelblood gets Bottomless or just your Plague and your Mizuki are gone, it brings them back. 1 Road. You will explode a lot and have a very big board. This is just nice protection. You can actually play through things. Like, I played through a Tarantula at one of the regionals where I went -4, and I still killed the guy that turn. Then we've got a copy of our Mirror Force here. Just a good trap. Solemn Judgment. I may actually cut this. It's a good card, but the life point paying can be kind of mediocre with the Ultimate Offering. It's solid. Call of the Haunted, obviously amazing with Goblin Zombie or any of the other zombies. TT, and one Bottomless is the other trap I play. So that is it for my trap lineup. And my spells, so there are 2 versions of this I played. This is the one I played when I went undefeated, and I'll actually talk about that in a second. So we've got 1 E-Telly, we've got 1 Brain Control, we have 1 Book of Life, we've got 1 Mind Control, we've got 1 Heavy Storm, we've got an Allure of Darkness, we've got a Creature Swap, and we've got an MST. The thing that I changed between the undefeated regionals and the Vancouver regionals was I swapped the Creature Swap out for 2nd Book of Life. And while I love Book of Life as a card, the other zombie deck with Instant Fusion became a lot more popular. And when you're playing as better players, they don't attack your floaters as much. So I actually really like this. And Book of Life, as good as it is, was dead like a lot of opening turns. Whereas Creature Swap, if you can just give them a Pyramid Turtle, take their guy, crash, it can be really fantastic. So I think that's player preference. If you play things like Armageddon Knight, then I can definitely see playing more Book of Life or Ryko or things that mill, but I actually don't mind that variation in that number I played there. Then we're going to go for the extra deck. So Magical Android, Catastor for your 5s. You only play 2 5s. They're all you really need. Goyo Guardian, Revive King Hades, and Breenak for your 6s. You make 6s a lot, zombies. Black Rose, the only time you make this is with Brain and Mind Control, because otherwise you don't have the level variation to make it, but it's still pretty strong. Then we're going to play 2 copies of Black Brute Drago. This card is insane. So if you don't know, this card is a 3k beater, 28 defense, or no, 26, and it needs a non-tuner Gemini, so that's Illblood. And what it does is you can discard a Gemini, pop a spell or trap, but if it dies by battle, by card effect, whatever it is, and goes to the graveyard, you get to bring back a Gemini and it's Gemini summoned. So pretty much, if you're playing against something like Lightsworn or Blackwing, where you think they have a Collude or an Honest, you just make this. You can ram into them, they waste their Collude or their Honest, you bring back a Gemini summoned Illblood, bring back the Plague, and then you can just remake him, which is unbelievable. And he's very hard for a lot of decks to out, because he's just so big. This is one thing I actually changed. At the time I was playing 2 Stardust Dragon. Dark End Dragon is so easy for the deck to make, because pretty much every one of your tuners will allow you to go into it, and Illblood is there allowing you to go into it. So I've upped this to 2, and I'm only playing the 1 Stardust Dragon at the moment. And then we've also got Thought Ruler Archfiend, Colossal Fighter, Red Dragon Archfiend, and the 1 Chimera Tech for your Cyber Dragons on the side. Now we're going to go into the side deck. This could definitely use some work. I can just talk about what I'd kind of change right now. So Shootin' Doji, I always side this in because people side in tons of banish hate against your zombies, and this is a searchable way to recycle things they banish. It's also amazing in like a simplified game state where you can just reset cards and like recycle your Mizuki every turn, and that's an infinite loop where you just like summon this, top deck your Mizuki, draw the Mizuki, then you can summon this off the Mizuki, and I did that a few games when I was like had everything banished by DD Crow, and it really worked out. 2 Ryko. I almost always side the Rykos in game 2 for 2 of my floaters, simply because of the fact that people are not going to attack your sets, and if they don't attack your sets because they think it's a floater and it's a Ryko, you get a pop and remove problem cards and then tribute it off for something else. So it makes people more scared to not attack you. 2 Cyber Dragon. I side that in pretty much anytime I'm going second. Or against machines. 2 DD Crow. DD Crow is obviously a fantastic card. Probably my most used size. The extra Book of Life. Side that in against like frogs, heroes, graveyard-based decks. Lightning Vortex. I really enjoy this. Playing against like Blackwings, you can just make their Icarus not live. Lightsworns, you can blow up their board so they can't honest you. It's really good. And 1 Burial. Again, if people are siding in Banish Hate, you side in the Burial, and it's really good against Quick Draw Dandy Warrior, because you can just recycle their Drill Warrior, which is nice. And we got double Pulling the Rug, double Dust Tornado, and an Iron Wall. So the thing I would change with this is I would play Karma Cuts. So while this deck is good, If you're playing against the zombie mirror, which I played a lot more like in the last few weeks because of the popularity of the instant fusion zombie deck, they just win that matchup because you're a lot more passive than they are if they don't have offering, because you've got all the floaters and less explosion opportunity. So having something like Karma Cut to banish their floaters and to banish their goblin zombies is an amazing card, and I would definitely play 2 of those on my side.
All right, so that's a pretty cool profile from Pascal here. But as per my usual profiles, I'd like to give you guys a little bit more insight. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, Pascal.
Yeah.
Yes, the first one is, what's this deck's weakness? What is it scared of?
So honestly, I found playing against like Hero and Frogs and stuff, you generally do pretty well. The worst matchup the deck has, especially when I took out the creature swap and I put in another Book of Life, is decks that are really passive. And if you don't have offering, they generally win the passive game. Like if you're playing a zombie mirror match and they're setting monsters and you're setting monsters, they're generally going to be more explosive faster because they've got things like instant fusion in the newer version, and they just get to their things faster with Armageddon Knights and Book of Lives than you do with your floaters. And they never have anything in attack position for you to crash into to start your own engine. So that's definitely not the best matchup for the deck, and I feel like that's what it struggles with the most. That's what I found recently. And otherwise, side deck wise, DD Crow, but you do have a lot of counter side to the DD Crow. And I'd say that's the main weakness, just passive decks that don't allow you to crash anything and like take the game at your own pace.
All right, so I guess naturally the next question would be, what is this deck excel at? What's your favorite matchup to play? What's the easiest games for you?
I really like playing against Frog heroes in general, and honestly, like even Blackwings are a very good matchup. Simply because of the fact that like Ab-Zero does nothing to hurt your deck. And you can pretty much crash into all their guys and just get to the cards you need to do your plays. And if they have like an absolute zero on board, you just have your black-blue Drago, you crash it into the Ab-Zero. Ab-Zero will kill your black-blue Drago, you just bring out Neoblood and make another one again. And the floaters play really, really well against the hero beat game. So if they attack into one of your like Pyramid Turtles or something, you can just float into the Eelblood directly, and he is bigger than like Thunder King, he's bigger than an Alias, he's just an annoying presence for them to deal with. So if you just attack with a Pyramid Turtle, bring out an Eelblood, and you are forcing out like an Honest, you are forcing out a Gemini Spark or something like that, that's really good value, and you can just Mizuki that back later or Book of Life it back later and put them in a really bad situation. And I found that in testing has been by far like my best matchup. I don't think in any of the tournaments I played I lost to a hero variant once. And that includes Diva Hero, Frog Hero, and just like regular hero.
Interesting. What do you think is the most important aspect of this deck that if somebody else wants to play this, what do they need to remember? What do you think is the key thing they need to work on to make this deck work for them?
So I think, especially days where I was more tired and didn't play it that well, I think you really have to be like very important on when you go aggressive with the zombie deck, because if you go aggressive too early, it can kind of neg you. And you're not in the best scenario, and just know how to use your floaters best and know how to play around their cards if you finally do get an ultimate offering out. Just like burn through a bit of their back row before you explode. If you've got like a goblin zombie and you've got your Eelblood, you can literally play through like almost any back row. Like you can play through TT, you're fine. But yeah, you just want to try and like simplify the game state, and then you can kind of pop off from there. And I think regular zombies try to do that as well.
All right, well, we've seen a couple different variants of zombie coming up now with instant fusions, and even just playing more like a chaos variants. Why do you think people should check out your deck? What makes your deck so special? Is it just the infinite dude, so the thematic wall of zombies that come at you with the trap card, or is like what makes this special and fun to play for you?
Well, I think what I really, really enjoy about the deck is just how versatile the toolbox is. Like if you compare it, yes, Ultimate Offering is a win button, but you've seen zombie variants talk with Ultimate Offering that don't even play the Eelblood. Like it's just a good extender. If you have a Goblin Zombie, you tribute it for Caius during their turn. banish one of their things. That's very strong. You don't need the Eelblood for that to be good. And then there's so many things with the toolbox that are just like really, really versatile. Like I was playing against Lightsworn, and I had Plague Engrave, a Pyramid Turtle, and one card in hand. And he had a face-up JD. And if you're playing a regular zombie variant, you're not getting past that JD. In this build, I just crashed the Pyramid Turtle in, got out an Eelblood, used the Plague Engrave, and because Eelblood is a dark, you can make a Dark End Dragon and just main phase 2 send their JD. And I ended up winning that game in the simplified game state just because I was able to get rid of that 3000 beater in the main phase 2 off like a Pyramid Turtle and one card in hand. Which, if you look at a regular zombie variant, they literally could not do anything there. They could like try and Brio bounce it with a Goya or something, but they could not remove that JD. And that's just like the toolbox the deck has. And that's the thing. I think zombies as an engine are very, very strong. And this deck is pretty much the Gemini deck with like access into Eelblood and like WinCon flipping up Ultimate Offering. But the zombie engine, in my opinion, is a lot more consistent and a lot more versatile than the Gemini engine, and you don't really need to have Offering to play a good game and to still like get a win. Like I probably still win a lot of my matches where I don't see Offering at all, just because the deck core itself is very strong.
I do think that when I'm watching you play the deck and watching what you're saying about the cards, it does seem like a lot more of a creative style of gameplay rather than the cut and dry bread and butter kind of combos of like this guy gets this guy, synchro for this thing, push for this much damage. It's very like dynamic based on whatever's happening in the game. So that's definitely pretty cool. And if you guys at home want to try this deck, you got the profile, you got the insights. Thanks Pascal for coming on the channel again, showing off a pretty cool deck, and getting the back-to-back dubs was pretty sick. And finally getting your mat, because he's won a bunch of these now, but they ran out of the light and darkness mats. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Before we end, I want to say there's one guy who did a video that's actually where I originally got the idea, and he played one Eelblood, and he's like, you can loop this forever. You can't. Eelblood, if he's removed from the field, but you bring it with him, dies. We have a list of combos that'll probably be playing on the side. So you need 2 Eelblood to do things. You cannot do it with 1. That guy was cheating at the event he topped. But it doesn't work this way. So yeah, I hope you guys try the deck out and enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.